We are at March 25th, 2025. It's 7 o'clock. My name is Joey Ragona, and we're here for another heart-centered marketing show where I get to show you or talk a lot about what makes the needle move in my business in terms of heart-centered marketing and all the different strategies that I use in order to bring dream clients to me in a very authentic, non-pushy way, no funnel, all that kind of stuff out of the way, out of the way. And today is one of the greatest times that I love being with you in this moment because I get to teach something that is in my brain, right? So I'm going to learn with you and hopefully give me some feedback, questions, challenge it, whatever it is. I may have taught this before. It's called the polar. I'm looking at some notes here because this is what I've been doing all day is brainstorming. So the polar framework before, and I'm reframing it. So the polar method or the polarized method, because that's really what it is. It's about how to authentically polarize you and have the right people come into your world. And so I'm going to draw out a model for you here and explain it as I have it today. And this may change over time. It has already changed since the first time I've done this, and that was a few years ago, where I called it the polar method or something, polar framework, whatever it is. So I'm changing it up, and let me just get to my iPad here so I can show you what I'm talking about. I'm calling this. So let me just go over to my notes. This is actually, you know what I'll do before I show this to you is I want to explain, what this actually means in a very simple way. So this is the polarized method. And the whole idea behind this is that try that again. Authenticity attracts. And funnels. Oops, let me do this in a different color. Yeah. Come on, give me a color. There we go. This guy here. And funnels force. And that's not what this is all about. I don't want you to be forcing anybody or doing anything like that. And so this is going to be a simple way, it's a non-pushy way to attract and convert your dream clients with content, aligned content, valuable content, and even we can get into a little bit of advertising piece of this because I don't talk a lot about paying for ads, but there's a unique way that I like to use ads if I was, when I'm coaching somebody who really wants to use ads. I'm going to share with you what I tell them, and hopefully it'll resonate with you. So when you actually lead with value, so first of all, I want to, mark this down as the most important thing. And really, this is about leading with value. Okay? Truth, value, truth, and vulnerability. And you'll see why I'm going to draw this out in a second, why this is super important to have this. And then when you do this, clients lean in. Okay? So what I want to draw for you here is the polar compass model. And by the way, if you hear live, let me know. If you hear live, let me know with a hashtag live or hashtag replay if you're watching on the replay. The only thing is I can't see anybody in the Facebook group because I'm drawing on my iPad, and that's usually where I'm monitoring everything on my iPad to see inside the Facebook group. So if you're watching from the Facebook group, totally apologize. I don't see your message. But anybody else, or just put the messages there because I will come back to them. But right now on the live, I can't see anything except everybody else. So there you go. So let's go back to this. The polar compass model. Wow, that's really bad writing. Okay, so the polar compass model, okay? And it begins with you. Authentically you. So this is the middle piece. And I'm going to draw this out where I want you to think about this as I'm drawing this as a as your North Star. Everything that I'm doing here is the North Star, and all of the points are interconnected. So this is not it's not a linear funnel. It's not something where it starts in one place and it goes around, even though I'm going to draw things that are around it. It's a compass guided system. So pieces can be all over the place, but it automatically draws into, like I said, it draws in. Let's put this as a color. It draws into authentically you. This is where it all begins. And this is the problem I find with where when I'm getting asked questions about, like, how do you market? How do you go out there and stand out? The only thing that I'm really going to answer is just go out and be you. It's a pretty simple answer, but it's not easy to do because there's a whole bunch of stuff. There could be that we are connected to some trauma in the past where we were judged too many times and we don't want that in our lives now. It could be a whole bunch of things. We're just embarrassed about being judged. We just think that we're not good on camera or whatever it is. And we got to get over that. The fact is that we're not going to impress every single person. That's the reason why I called this the polarized method, because you want to polarize the people that are not aligned with you. You don't want to, you're not being a jerk to them, but the more you show up as yourself and they don't like you, they're naturally going to want to avoid you. So they opt out or they unfollow you or whatever. And that's really what you want. You want people that are not aligned with you to not really be in your world, and you make room for the people who are. That's what being authentically you really stands for. So it's about the core identity. Everything begins with being who you are, because authenticity is the most magical thing that in business, in anything, authentically being you is the most magical thing that you can do. So it's really easy to show up as, like I said, as yourself, or to attract if you just show up as yourself, right? So I'm just going to keep harping on that. Hi, Collie. Good to see you. Thanks for being here live. And if you are watching live, let us know by #live or #replay. Okay, let me get back to this. The first part of this, actually go here. As I'm saying, I'm looking at some notes here because I'm figuring this out myself, and I want to share it with you. This is what I love to do is learn and share with you, see if there's any snags in something that you may not get, or that I'm not really putting out in the right way. It's not your fault, it's mine. And I really want to get this right so that I can teach it even more and apply it. But the first piece of this is right here, which is the P for position. And the position is about resonance. All right. And what this means is it's a strategic function. Like, this is basically, again, where you are showing up. This is your chance to lead with who you are. You don't need to fake anything. You don't need to be anything that you're not. I've been in that place before, where for a short stint of time, 3 years, 2016 to 19, I was maybe trying to be something that I was not, and I didn't align with who I was. And when I changed everything back to being aligned with who I am, all of my content started to resonate. It's an identity that I show up just to me. I don't have to pretend to be anything. I don't have to think about what to say, because I just say it, right? And the dream clients show up. The dream clients I totally agree with you. I'm on the same page, that kind of thing. And to me, that's pretty simple, because that is let's put another color, the north position, right? This is north on the compass model. So that's the first one. P is positioning as yourself. That's the first one. Then the next one is the Orient. Oop, let me just change that. Get rid of that one. Go here. This is Orient. And what does Orient mean? It means clarity. And this is the East. Okay, so what does Orient mean? Orient is about being focused. One thing, one message, one video, and that's it. Clarity wins when you're doing any kind of content marketing. Stay centered on the topics that directly help your dream clients. One of the things that I talk about a lot is the chain of beliefs. we do a lot of work on the chain of beliefs, and the chain of beliefs fits in within this model because I'm always asking, what does your client or potential client need to believe before they buy from you? And there could be a whole bunch of things, there could be a couple of things, and there's pivotal moments in that chain. One is the what I call the bar stool moment, which is basically the moment that your dream client or you meet your dream client and it's the thing that they're saying to the world, or in this case, in my analogy, to the bartender and you over here, and like, wait a minute. And then there's the differentiator, which is where you actually get them interested in what you're saying. For me, it's like the dream client is completely different from an ideal client avatar, which it truly is. This is not a tactic. It's really what you believe and what you stand for and what you're always saying. So that's my differentiator. And then there's the epiphany, which is when they get a breakthrough moment. And the breakthrough moment for me and my clients, when they understand or they are open to believing that there's a difference between the main ideal client avatar and a dream client, during a conversation there, they'll say or think to themselves, wow, I've only done work on the ideal client avatar. I haven't done the deep work that Joey's talking about in order for me to build a program and sell it authentically and all that. See, so there's a chain of beliefs. Little side note there as we go. But that's what this is about. This is about the let me get my highlighter here, right? That's what this clarity is all about. So make sure that you're focusing on that chain of beliefs, because there's nothing really else you need to talk about except for the things outside of your program or your course, whatever you're doing, that they need to believe and understand or be open to believing, be open to agreeing to, that kind of thing. That's it. Next thing is the South. Let's go to the South. Dang it, I keep doing that, don't I? The South is layer. Okay? And layer it's really about maximizing reach. So instead of creating more, which I know a lot of people think that they need to do, I need to create more, then all you need to do is really repurpose. This is where I do a lot of this, and repurposing is my bread and butter. I create one piece of content and I'm repurposing that forever, like for a long time, especially now because we have AI with us who can help us even pull more content out of like a main piece. So the layering is how you're taking one piece of content and you're making all kinds of different pieces of it. So you're layering all these things. So you're spending your time making one good piece of content and then layering across other channels. And again, this doesn't have to be every single channel. We can talk all about that too. If you have a question, by the way, put it into the comments, please, and I will answer that. And so that's what that layer means. As you can see, we are going through the polar compass, right? So we have, we have the P, right? The polar. We have the Orient, and we have the L. So far. Now, what's the next piece? Next piece is something I don't talk a lot about, but I'm going to insert it here because I know that this is a cool way to amplify, which is what the next one is. It's amplify. And amplify is about speed. And this is where you could do advertising. And you could put some like money behind what you're doing, but you don't need complicated funnels. You don't need you don't need these cold funnels where you're pushing someone into a page to opt in, to download a lead magnet so that you can put them through another funnel that tries to sell them something. That's not what I'm talking about when it comes to amplification for me within this model. Here, I'll just show you, come back to this again, which is, let's go here, which is the amplify and the speed. So in other words, this is totally up to you. You know, it's not part of it. That's why it's not really a linear process. But if you wanted to put spend a little bit of money behind what you're doing, then what you could do is you could have an ad that goes to a gift, whatever the gift is, without the gate. Like, don't put a gate there. Don't put an opt-in. Don't put where they have to give you something. You're just giving something away. and why would you do that? Because that's what the heart-centered marketing is about. I'm not saying never grow your list. I'm not saying never get an opt-in, but that's what this is about. It's polarizing because you're doing something completely different that nobody else is really doing. So put a little bit of money behind it, put an ad out that goes directly to the gift. And as soon as the person's going to get there, they're like, what? Like, I don't even have to opt in for this. And that totally elevates your status. Does that make sense? It elevates your status. Even if you did this and you spent $1 a day doing something like this, and you, because it's not about growth, right? It's not about the ad being positive ROI and how do I get my ad spend back and all that other stuff. I'm not saying that's no good, but for this strategy here, that's not what it's about. It's about getting more eyeballs onto your stuff, and then within that content, they're just starting to follow you. The whole idea is you're paying to get in front of people so that you can polarize most of them, and some of them will be more attracted to you, and they'll start looking for you. They'll start binge watching all of your stuff. Okay. Crazy, I know, right? Okay, so then this is West. If I, oops, get rid of that, Joey. Over here, this is West. And then you have this other little piece here, this other part, which is Northeast, right here. And this is Reconnect. Right, so you have, go back to this guy and this guy. So we want to get rid of this for a second. And I want to circle this is the A, and then you got the R over here. So there's your polar. And the Reconnect is really following up only with the right people. It's part of a retargeting process if you really wanted to do that. And if you, like when I'm doing something like this, if I wanted to, or when I do use this to reconnect, I'm reconnecting to get a conversation going. And if the conversation expands out into the part where I feel as though the person is ready to, at the point that they need my help right then and there, I can offer something. I can say, would you like some help with this piece? Would you like to know more about that? But it's not where this reconnection piece is so condensed down to, okay, they opted in, or they liked my stuff, and I'm going to DM them. And then as soon as they respond, I'm going to pitch them this thing. And I get that every single day. So there is a process behind all of this, but again, it doesn't go in a linear fashion. So you can do it any way that you want to, but the reconnection piece is a huge piece of it if you are going in there authentically, because you do want to follow up with people, but it's not this where I got to follow up with 10 people every single day. I got to make sure I'm pitching every single day and all these other things. I'm not a fan of that. I'm a fan of reconnecting to figure out more, because I like to reframe the ABC, which is like always be closing. If you ever heard of the sales thing, always be closing. That just makes my blood boil when I hear that. So I've reframed it to be always be curious. So the more that I follow up with people and I'm curious about what's going on, like what's happening, or what did you feel, what did you get from that Google Doc I sent you? Was there anything there that I need to explain more? Is there anything that you need more clarity on? Exactly the same thing I'm doing right here with the polar compass model is, hey, I've got this idea. This is what I'm thinking. This is how you could use it. What do you think? What did you get from this? And so this is where this entire thing, okay, is really about this authentic connection or conversion. All of this, if I can draw a little circle, all of this is authentic conversion. When you do this right. Here's why I'm saying this, because if you have the polar method, what I'm just talking about, versus funnels, what you'll find is that the funnels is the old way. So I should have done it the other way. You know what? I'm going to do that because that's going to bother me. Should have done it the other way. It's funnels are over here. This is the old way. And this is the polar method. Okay. And funnels are pushy. They have they're gates, right? So you have like opt-ins all the time. They're gates and they're very cold. There's no real personalization with funnels. Where the polar, what I'm talking about, is warm. It's visible and trust-based. Trust-based. Funnels are complex. They're bloated. This connects to that, and here's what the upsell is, the downsell. If you don't get the downsell or the upsell, then here's a mid sell or a cross sell or whatever, right? They're just bloated. They're just really, really complex. And within the polar method, it's simple and service first. Let me know what do you feel about this? Like, do you agree with this? Is this something that resonates with you? Because I know, like, when I looked at this, when they showed this to my clients, they were like, yeah, that's really what it means to me. And then where the funnels are all about leads, it goes from leads to selling, and then maybe serve. Okay, let's give them a little bit of a break. But then this one is where we start with serve. We connect with people. And then we have an offer. That makes sense? See the difference of how it runs? Because, when people are asking me, do you ever offer? Are you talking about you're against selling or anything along those lines? And I say, no, it's not. We have to make an offer. We have to come to a point where we're giving our service, giving our knowledge, our expertise, guidance, and all that. But then there comes a point where I can help you better with this if we work together. And so that's where the offer is. People are waiting for some kind of guidance. But it's when you come to this one here in the funnel based, that was something that I've stepped away from. I did that for a couple of years. I tried it because I thought I was missing something. Thankfully, I wasn't missing anything. And I don't want leads. This is not what I want. I'm not into like selling just because I get a lead. I am into serving, which is cool. Serving's cool, but I like doing serving. And then once I serve and then somebody gets something from what I'm doing, then I can connect with them. And then if the time is right, then I can press or do an offer. So there you go. That's my brain, like in the public here, learning and sharing with you what the polar compass model is. Let me just share this one more time. Here's the polar compass model. Okay. So you have position. Go back here. Do this again over here. So you have positioning, which is, resonance. You have reconnect. Reconnecting is really taking action. This is like taking action. The Orient over here. I know what a mess, right, Joey? So the Orient, this is about clarity, like having, the Orient, which is about clarity, having one message, a simple message in your marketing, in the post, in the video. I'm so, I still have to learn about this because I have so much to share. I don't know when to stop. So I'm really trying to focus in on one core thing for each thing. So clarity and simplicity. I've been about that forever. Sometimes I sway away from it because there's so much to talk about. But if you can get it down to like one clear message, just put out more messages. And it's authentic. It's not with a CTA at every single one saying, hey, go buy my stuff. Then it's cool. The layer is the reach right down here. So layer is about reach, right? How much can you reach by repurposing the stuff that you've already done and make it into more content over as many channels as you want to? And I want to talk to you about the channel thing because, again, this is something that comes up all the time in my private mastermind. And I'm not against being on multiple platforms. I understand that you have to get more eyeballs or whatever it is. But what I'm saying is master one and do that really, really well. And you can use the other ones as kind of social deposits, right? So as my channels, YouTube, Medium, LinkedIn, X, all these things, they're social deposits for me. And they're not like the main thing. And because I'm focusing on one channel, one thing, and mastering that and showing up there. And what that allows me to do is be consistent over multiple channels. But if I miss one day on X or YouTube or something like that, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to me because I was trying to go the other way where my brain was like, no, you have to be on consistently every single channel and do this every single day. And it just burnt me out. And so I wasn't doing it. So now I am on every channel because I'm no longer pressured that I have to do this, right? I have to do this. And so that's just it's a mindset. You don't have to adopt it or agree with it, but that's basically the way that I look at this. And so once I've got one mastered and I'm consistent over and over and over again, then maybe I can move on to another one and become more masterful at that, depending on if my clients are there. So there you go. A little bit of a mindset shift on what the polar compass is, and as well, the polarized method. I want you to remember that authenticity attracts, funnels force, and lead with value, truth, and vulnerability, because then your dream clients will lean in. Hopefully that helps you out. Let me know in the chat. Let me know in the comments if you're here on the replay, hashtag replay. It's been a pleasure. Again, we'll see you for next Tuesday for another heart-centered marketing show. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.